Hey, greetings everyone. What's up? It's GleeCon, and I'm back once more, bringing you another episode of Lore of Warcraft. On this show, we cover everything. You know it, and if you don't know it, you're about to find out. So whether we're talking about non-canon lore or canon lore books or videos, transcripts thereof, the old games, the classic games, or the new frontier, we cover it all. We're in the middle of a World of Warcraft Classic long play on the Era servers. And we recently finished Dustwallow Marsh as an alliance, so we're doing the same treatment as Horde. We started that last time, and we're going to continue this time, if you'd like to. Stay a while and listen. Alright, so we mostly finished, like, everything. I'm going to have a slightly shorter episode today that's going to allow us to pick up. We're going to work on everything that's not related to the Onyxia Brood. We're going to have a finale episode tomorrow where we do finish off the Brood, but for today's episode, we have some running around that we need to do. So if you look at what we need, okay, we have the Soothing Spices. Well, it turns out the Horde can't buy those in Brackenwell Swamp, of course. We have Stinky's Escape, which requires us to go back to Ratchet, just to turn it in. We've already done the quest. We have the Black Shield, which requires us to go to Thunder Bluff. Cool. And so we have all of these just waiting around for us. And then we also have... Whoops, I just ran over a croc. We have the other ones are the ones that are for an actual... XP and are tagged as elite, some of them, but are not elite anymore. Oh, we also have to turn Deadmire into Thunder Bluff. We have Overlord Malkmarok's Concern, Identifying the Brood, and the Army. Whoops, I just ran through an alliance. I am really not paying attention. Those things are what I consider the Black Dragon quest line, and they each branch off into more. So there will be, you know, a few... quests that launch out from that. So that's what we'll cover those tomorrow on a Friday episode. Today is you know, Thursdays are always historically long days for me, so I'm coming into the day tired. I've also been really wrestling with a sinus problem lately where I've been just taking Advil and Allegra multiple times a day for the past week or so, and it is racking me. I don't know if it's a sinus cold that I have, or if it is like some sort of infection. Is it allergies? I don't know what it is. You know, there's too many variables, and I can't really actively troubleshoot them the same way I would with, say, tech problems. All right, now the whole reason that I did all this is actually it's kind of weird when you can run back out to the same loose dirt you found the orc hand that had a note in it, and you can come back and the game does not direct you there. But if you come back, there is another quest that I don't even know how you would have found this out if you were Horde the first time, but it's another quest called the Severed Head. Vigorous digging reveals the head of a male orc, raggedly severed at the neck. His lips are frozen in a snarl and its dark eyes stare defiantly. I think that's actually, it's called the Severed Head, but I believe that's the same head you maybe pick up on the first one. Let's mess around with the walkthrough on that one. Yeah, I haven't done very much. I actually think I did part 2 on this one. I should mark that off on the overland thing. So there's that at least. But we just got the Severed Head, so I guess it's not called that. I think it's just called the Orc Report, so that's the one that's kind of sort of doubled up. But this quest is going to send us elsewhere also. First, it will send us, for the short side of things, back to Brackenwell, but it's going to ultimately channel us back into either Thunder Bluff or Orgrimmar. I can't remember which, and we'll go from there. So I think what we're going to do... Did we have to go to Orgrimmar? That's a great question. Doesn't look like we actually do. So it might be, I was going to Hearth to Orgrimmar and then fly, but maybe not. Now, if this sends us to Orgrimmar, then that is going to reactivate my current plans that I have. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of hard because it's a triangle right here. It's all equidistant. So we can kind of do this a variety of ways. We could begin by flying. We could fly. Maybe a shortest path would be to fly to Thunder Bluff from here. Then Hearth from there to Stormwind. I mean Orgrimmar. Then fly from Orgrimmar down the Ratchet, then from Ratchet down to here. That will avoid one long flight to... I mean, the other option is Hearth to Orgrimmar, and then fly down to Thunder Bluff, then fly over to Ratchet, and then fly... I think I like that last, now that I'm actually saying it out loud. So, I think we're going to bite the bullet with a flight first, if we have to go to Orgrimmar. And if we don't have to go to Orgrimmar, well, then we might avoid the Hearthing altogether. Truth about Classic is all classes will die. All classes will hit a wall and not be able to do elite quests alone. I mean, that's true if we're talking about, you know, trying to accomplish level 60s or whatever. You have another matter to report, Cleek and Soul.
This is the head of Marg Night-Eye. As I feared, he is dead. Look at the wound on his neck. Could a weapon have made that ragged cut? Or did some beast slay our agent? This is a mystery we must solve, adventurer. We must discover if Marg's death was at the hands of the Alliance.
Interesting.
We must know the events surrounding Marg's death. And the only way to do that, adventurer, is through the witch magic of trolls. Bring Marg's head to Kinwheelie in Stranglethorn Vale at the Gromgall base camp. Kinwheelie is the most powerful witch doctor of the Darkspear trolls. If anyone can speak to Marg Night-Eye's spirit, it is he.
All right, well, I was wrong. Okay, so if we then... Now I'm changing my order of operations here, because now what it is we're actually going to have to do is we're going to have to go to Booty Bay, which means Ratchet is going to be our point of origin. Actually, it means that Orgrimmar to Gromgall is our best point of origin. Ratchet would take us down to Booty Bay. We don't want that. We want Gromgall. So I could fly to Ratchet, or I could fly to Thunder Bluff. It's about the same distance. I think we fly to Thunder Bluff, and then we... Jeez Louise, I'm not sure how I want to do this. Then I can Hearth to Orgrimmar, which take us over to Gromgall, fly back and come back to Ratchet. Or by then I might be able to Hearth back. It's about the same of a flight. Alright, well, let's go to Thunder Bluff first. We can get a few things that we need while we're there. That's it. We really just have a bunch of running around to do. Alright, so this quest is called the Troll Witchdoctor. Since we completed the Severed Head, let's march that off. And this opens up the Troll Witchdoctor. And then let's just take a peek at what we have going on ahead of us today and what we can do. So we can finish Soothing Spices, and then we'll have to run over and do Jarl Needs Eyes today, and then we automatically have Jarl Needs a Blade. This is going to be done. Stinky's Escape we're going to turn in. The Black Shield 5 we're going to turn in. I think it dead ends. Now we're going to get Marg Speaks and probably report to Zor, which is in Orgrimmar, and then I think Service to the Horde. I think all of that is just going to sort of kind of peter out. And that's the end. I mean, I guess Stinky's Escape could be where we finish it. And then we could come back and do the Brood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. there's 8 quests that we can do next time. This is going to be turning in 1, 2, 3, 4. We just did 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, kind of this time. Whoopsie. All right, so I got to tell you, I am a man that is just right at the finish line of a marathon. I'm coming up on a nice paid time off of work. I will have some work to do from home. I've been pushing certain things back, and I'll push it back as far as I can, but I'm going to get a nice fat 2 weeks off. And between the sinus issues and the busyness at work, it is coming. It's getting deadly here, and I am ready. I have one more day after work tomorrow. Should be chill. Can't foresee anything that really is going to get in my way of. I've got a few. I mean, of course, I have a full day of work ahead, but I should not have to stay late. They did the company Christmas party today. I did not attend because I was working. They always, for whatever reason, this will never stop bothering me. Over the past 4 to 5 years, they have done this Christmas party at a very early time, like the second that work is out, and then they put it on the calendar to last just a couple hours. And so you'd have to break from work and immediately go there. The problem with me is I never do that. I always work a couple hours over because of the nature of my job. It's just, I'm one of the few people that get it stuck to them like that. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't really have one. I'm also not, like, I'm very friendly with, and I enjoy a lot of people I work with. There's very, very few people that I would count as a true friend that I work with. Here, I'm going to buy these soothing spices. So, and most of those people, if they fall into that category, they are already someone that I would hang out with outside of work, and they chances are they're not going to this either. And not to mention, it is usually on a Thursday, not a Friday or anything, so it makes it like difficult if I want to bring my spouse. So for a variety of reasons, it's just not something I typically do. All right, here is where we'll talk about Deadmire. No, this is the quest for the Black Shield. Mozarn. Hello there, shaman. Something I can help you with?
Yes, you are certainly correct. This is a shield that I made. I'm afraid there's not much more I can tell you, though, adventurer. I craft so many different shields and sets of armor, I can't keep track of them all.
So that's all he's saying, is that it is a Tauren shield. So this is the overall Searing Blade thing. Like, all we're really learning from that is the conspiracy does connect this to the Horde in the same way that the Pavel Reef's badge connects it to the Alliance. Like, there's a connection, but there's a connection to both. What do we know? But this could also mean it is, I mean, that could be anything. It could be circumstantial, it could be a coincidence, it could be a regular of the inn. This could be a common ground. Maybe the inn was a meeting point between Horde and Alliance where they got along, and because of that the Burning Blade wanted it down. But the way the shield was slammed up and attached to the chimney, it's almost like it was placed in an effort to indicate the Horde in the same way that the hoofprints were. And maybe those centaur hoofprints, maybe I'm totally wrong, Maybe I'm not thinking about a different thing. Maybe this could be demonic hoof prints who burned it down using demonic fire. So there's that element as well. Do you have the tooth of Deadmire? We can so have you ended the creature's suffering.
Very good, adventurer. I am sure the hunt was not easy, but it is good to know the beast's pain has finally ended.
So it looks like that is a dead end, but there are more steps, I believe, that open up in that hunt. I don't know what the deal is there. I think there you go. That's another one I wasn't even counting to be checked off. Not sure exactly. All right, we're going to go ahead and astral recall our way over to Orgrimmar now. And I got to decide, is it going to be quicker to fly from Orgrimmar to from Orgrimmar to Ratchet, or from Gromgal to Stranglethorn? Because whatever's shorter, let's say it's a shorter flight. I think it's shorter from Stranglethorn to Booty Bay. I suspect. I mean, because we can do both. I'm not sure which one will be faster. Because I could always hearth back to Orgrimmar after I do this. We've got to go to Gromgal right now. And we have the soothing spices. And the Witchdoctor is in Gromgal. Stinky's escape is back in the Barrens. That's an Undercity Zep, but that's not the Zep we want on this particular occasion. I can't remember if I ever really mentioned it, but yeah, I did look at these little Winter Wonderland things, and we are going to do it, but we're going to do them starting next week on Wednesday. I'll do it some Christmas special episodes on Wednesday evening-ish. Okay, so we're heading over to Gromgal to do the Troll Witchdoctor, but I think, you know what, I think the question's going to be answered for us, because I think we have to go back to Orgrimmar after a little bit of time. Let's open up a few more quests. Actually, might as well open up a pretty decent amount more, because I know that we have the Black Dragon ones we're going to get to anyway. Alrighty, so we are continuing to plug along. Those are going to get done. This one right now. And I think it ties into this. I'm not sure if he makes us get something. I kind of think he does. Now we have identifying the brood already, right? Yeah, that's just getting the tongues and hearts. We have the Brood of Onyxia Part 1, for sure. That is, we don't have that. I think maybe identifying the brood opens up that. We have the Army of the Black Dragon. I don't think that one extends. We have the Brood of Onyxia 2, which definitely extends. We have Overlord Malkmarok's Concern, which we're also on. That's getting his stuff. And then the Brood of Onyxia Part 3. So we do have 3 different brood portions. Probably killing, I would guess, a few different things. It might be doing something. And then once we've completed it all, the finale to this zone is challenging Overlord Malkmarok. It is going to be tricky to do. Because he hits like a truck. I'm hoping I can. When I did the quest on my feral, I had to use the trick to spam. Spam Entangle and Moonfire, and just run around the camp. If we look at the quest, I kind of want to get a preview, since this is going to be our next one. Challenging Overlord Malkmarok as a shaman. I'm wondering if what they say they do. What are some comments people have? So a hunter, yeah. See, he has the health of a small village. Yes, exactly. So basically, he hits like a truck. He will 3-shot you for sure. So you can't really stay away. Then he's saying it doesn't work to basically kite him. And you don't have to kill him. You just have to get him down to about 25% life, and then he runs off somewhere in that ballpark. I'm sure people have done the math, but the rest of these quests are gray at this point, but there we go. Kinwile. We'll do a lot of this cauldron bubbling.
Who you be?
Troll Witchdoctor. Hello, the spirits say you're here to aid my chief. Say it loud, they do. There is an angry spirit about you, sister. What brings you to Kinwile? I now see. The spirit of this orc is bound in our world, boiling with rage from a task yet undone. Well, let us have words with this angry orc. I am eager to hear what so angry an orc has to say. Kinwile places Marg's head in the cauldron. Cast the spell, Speak with Heads. Peer into the cauldron, Gleekon soul. Marg wishes to speak. Alright, so going back here, we just completed the Troll Witchdoctor quest where we met up with him. And it might be a little bit off-putting, but he's going to now give us the quest Marg Speaks. I think, let's see. You must interact with the cauldron. Cursed Marg shell, you can't kill Marg. Ah, but I am dead, so it must have slain me. But my mission. So he was killed by the muck shell around Theramore. You, Gleekon soul, must complete it. While near Theramore, I spied a group of Alliance soldiers camped on the beach, and one soldier wore a pendant laden with more gems than any soldier could afford. That night I snuck into their camp and stole the pendant, but on my return to base a muckshell crabman killed me. Gleekon soul, you must find that muckshell and recover the pendant. So that's actually back in Dustwallow. We have to get it from any one of the muck shells in the bay there. That's cool. We can do that. And it's... Well, now I'm going to go... Not sure what to do, but now I am going to fly and then boat back over to Ratchet. Because now it's turning out that we're not going to get to go to Orgrimmar for a little bit of time. Got to sell some of this stuff before we start going out in the world. Because my inventory is getting a little full. But it would seem to indicate that someone is either at least taking bribes, but it might be someone who's using that pendant to interact and talk with demons. Alright, so... Now I have double teamed him. He's okay to double team because you can toss threat back and forth. This says, let's see, warlocks, because he can be indefinite feared. So there you go. You need to find a way to spam keep this guy away from you. The guy couldn't hit me once. So Frostbolt, Cone of Cold, Blink, basically continue to play keep away with him. Ice Back and Cold Snap. And so that's good. So you should be able to do that with various Frostbolt stuff. If you can't fear or root him, just note he attacks pretty fast, and that boat landed us there pretty well. Let's see if I can get over. No, I just missed the boat, so now there's no rush. So now we're going to wait for the boat back to Ratchet so we can turn this stuff in Ratchet. And then we'll keep our research going. So we don't have a fear. Now I can slow him with Earthbind. I could hypothetically get him with Stoneclaw. My thinking is I could set up Earthbind totems. It lasts for 45 seconds, and then I could maybe run circles around some of the geometry and then keep the Searing totem up, and then I could also maybe keep my Mana Spring totem up. That's one idea. That's one of the only ideas I have. 50% slow speed. Let's see what other people say. Solo, there you go, Shaman. Keep down the Earthbind totem and let Searing totem slowly kill him while you kite him around the cart. Keep mana for emergency Frost Shock. That is basically what my plan was. I was thinking, what are we going to do? Because you basically need to try to kite him and never let him hit you. I'm trying to look and see if there's any other things. Yeah. Shadow Priest. Yeah, I don't know what you would do. As a priest, that'd be really hard because you don't have any slowing effects. Hunter, you could mess around with the traps and with your pet. Took 12 minutes. Kite around to the other entrance. Yeah. If he runs over the campfire in the middle, it slows him a little bit too. There you go. They use cheetah speed to help keep. You just need your speed to be more. Fellow Druid, yeah, that's easy. Frost Mage, not so bad. Cheese him as a hunter. So it looks like you have a few options. So what is this really? Yeah, it says killed him solo, cheesing between the boxes and stuff. So what we're looking at is if you are a warrior, you might be okay if you have a shield, because I could see keeping shield block up. Potentially, if you use all your rage on shield block, you might be okay because you could block his strikes. It's going to be risky and it's going to require some protection speckery. So, because you're going to need multiple shield blocks to go off of a single use. But I could see you trying to pull it off that way. As a paladin, your cooldown time on your bubbles is so small. Even if you juggled bubbles and stuns and incapacitates and really maximized your time between your heals, you do get to have a lot of armor. So if you're already rocking pretty good plate armor, you might be able, with lay on hands, with a full suite of cooldowns, might be able to pull it off. Oh, it's a moot point. You can't be a Horde Paladin. This is a Horde only quest. So scratch Paladin. So warrior, potentially, if you're protection spec. Otherwise, I would imagine you're screwed. I can't see how you could beat it. I didn't hear a single warrior mention anything about it. You need a team up. Then Hunter, they already explained how you could kite him. We're going to try to do the same kind of kiting strategy as Shani here. Druid, the Entangle works great. Actually a couple things I beat that way. Now Rogue, I think you're straight up screwed. I do not think I did help a Rogue beat this, and so you could 2-man it if you have the help of a Rogue. But I think Rogue and probably Warrior, you're going to need to find a partner. You can 2-man them. Because you can, like I said, you can swap threat. That's the best way to do it. Look at that little gnome. Can't inspect him because he's Alliance, but he looks cool. They actually all look pretty cool. Like that guy that's a dope set. Oh, and then this guy. Does he really look like that? Or like that? He looks like a ninja. All black. Okay, and we've already explained how mages and warlocks can beat him. Priest is going to be tough because you have no slow. But you could do fear, so maybe between some fear and some shields, if you got some dots on him. It's a maybe because of the psychic scream. If you just really blitzed him. Because you at least have something. Rogues don't have anything. You could pop evasion. You can pop sprint. They both have like 5-minute cooldowns, so it's not gonna. Maybe with an advanced target dummy for both of those, you could pull it off. But yeah, you're probably screwed. Sub Rogue. Pop evasion and just dodge all his attacks, rack up 5 combo points, and eviscerate. So they're basically saying you could, if you do pop your evasion and ghost strike. So this is specifically if you're using subtlety road. You can also mix in some of those gouges and eye for an eyes and stuff like that. You'd have to keep him completely stunned at all times. So maybe. So maybe I guess there are some paths, but it sounds like for rogues and for warriors, it's really not viable unless you've taken specific defensive, survivable type specs. Alright, here we go off. Now we're going to fly back to Brackenwall. We've done this portion of the mission. There is going to be some traveling at the end, I think, to Orgrimmar. That's probably where we'll finish this zone. Alright, down to Brackenwall. So we are having a little bit of flying right now, but it's not anything that's going to take a super amount of time. Alright, so what we're going to do when we land is we are going to go back over to Jarl. He's going to give us soothing spices. Go get the spider eyes, come back, and then turn it. So we'll turn in the Moonblade. So that whole trio will be done. We're going to get all that done. I forgot to turn in Stinky's escape. Dang it. So now I've got to go fly back there. I cannot believe I forgot to turn that quest in. That was silly of me. But now I can hopefully land at Crossroads and just fly right back. Wasting a little bit of gold, but I still have some things I can sell. I didn't mess around with my leather very much, but we didn't really... I thought maybe we would get the chance to get some thick leather, and we didn't really get that chance. We are going to do Stranglethorn next, which there's tons of leather, so... Alright, so I did pop back off. I hit land at the next stop, and now we got to go back to Ratchet. So I did waste a couple minutes of time here. That is what it is. So I hope everybody has some time laid out for themselves over the holidays. So tomorrow will be a normal night, and I'm going to, we'll finish off Dustwallow tomorrow for the Horde. Saturday, I don't know that there's a lot going on either in my life. Oh, I do have the Saturday evening thing, actually, to take that back. So Saturday morning, though, we will start Stranglethorn, so that'll be cool. Sunday, I've got a little bit of football, but we can still continue to work on Stranglethorn. And then Monday, I plan on doing a Patreon in the evening, but that does still open up an episode to continue Stranglethorn at night.
Stinky was here with the herbs I asked of him, and he told me you helped him out of a bind. Good work. A friend of Stinky's is a friend of mine. He asked me to give you this if I ever saw you, right before he walked back south toward the marsh.
Thank goodness. All right, the silly Stinky quest is done. Stinky's Escape. That one is now done. Cool. All right, and I might as well right here sell off some of our things.
Hey, how you doing?
All those fish scales. I have these shadow silk things. That's a regular medium hide. I don't. Oh, I can sell the enchanted sea kelp. I don't need these fish. Okay, so I think I'm gonna. Those fish oil and fish scales sell for a very small amount. So I'm gonna keep them, but also know that I can throw them away when I want to. I do want to put thick murloc scales in there. The medium hide, we can grow that. And I wanted to throw some of these other scrolls in. I have cured light hide. I have cured medium hides right there. So maybe if I go... Actually, I should go cure that. It's probably a trade thing somewhere. Let's look and see if I can buy some salt. And I think I have my deep rock salt out, yeah.
I got what you need.
I got what you need. Alright, let's see about this medium hide. There we go. I'm going to stick that in the... I don't even know where I would have gotten the cured medium hide, or, I mean, a medium hide from. I killed something below what I'm working at. Because it was... Cured heavy hides are very useful, and cured thick hides, those are cool, but somehow I found a medium one.
Time is money, friend.
Alright, so now that can go in the bank. I have rugged leather. I think that's even the next tier up. I think I'm done holding on to these green whelp scales. Alright, what can I sell and get rid of? If I purchase a bag spot, I think I'm going to just have to go ahead and bite the bullet and do it. That's going to cost me 10 gold. And we can go ahead and take this jewelry box, put it up in there, because not only does it free me up with a spot, but it also allows me to have some more spots here. So I can put these green whelp scales in there, and I'm running out of onks also. And these spider silks. Okay. Not too shabby.
Keep it real.
Okay, so we are getting close to 40. That might slow me down because I did that. But we might be okay. As I'm trying to remember, get to about that 90 gold that it takes to learn writing and buy a Kodo, so that we can have that. And I wanted to do it by the time we hit 47. Now I just set myself back. I'm 4.5 gold under, and we're gonna have some leveling up, probably somewhere in the realm of 10 gold. So I need to earn about 15 gold between now and then. I can get 2 of it from this Widowmaker, and we'll get a little bit more from some of the other stuff that we do. So there is a chance that we can still catch up. And, you know, we have some quests we're going to turn in right now as we work through this. Today's episode, even with all of this stuff, I still think we're going to finish kind of early today. but I did like the idea of breaking it down. I'm not sure if you look at let's look at the just size of Stranglethorn compared to say Dustwallow. It's about twice as big. And that's with a lot of the quests having Dustwallow doesn't have that many uniques, but Stranglethorn does. And also there's not a ton of Stranglethorn quests that are just really quick 1, 2, 3 head over and kill. Or just head over and talk, I mean. So I think it's easy. It's going to be easily twice as long as this zone, and maybe more. So I think when we do Stranglethorn, my guess is it's going to be 7 episodes per, give or take. There is no dungeon tied to it, but I think it's going to be 7 solid episodes, give or take. So we will do that. As I get these next couple days off, and mixed within that, remember we're going to do the Christmas episodes too. So there will be a couple Christmas episodes right around Christmas, starting on Christmas Day and the day after. We'll do a couple of those. And I'll start a holiday tab. So we're going to get that going, which that'll be pretty fun. Also, I like that. So we throw that in too, and what I think that's going to wind up giving us is up until, what day is it today? 19th, 20th. So up until like December 29th, right as we get close to New Year's, that should take us through maybe finishing Stranglethorn as Alliance and our Christmas episodes. And then as we get to the next part, we should probably be about 3/4 of the way done with Stranglethorn with the Horde as we run up into the first week of the new year. So we won't quite finish Stranglethorn in that time, but we'll be close. And I hope also in that time I'm going to get the opportunity to do, well, I'll do the Christmas episodes on my own also, and that will take me a day or two. Same thing. So during that time, that's basically what I'll be doing on WoW for that 2-day period. So I will lose those 2 days, and there will be a lot of busy things going on where I can't do a lot else. All right, so now we're going to travel over. I want to do the Soothing Spices kick first. So back over to Jarl, where we got that orc report. But I still hope, I'm in Tanaris now. I do hope to get a little bit better. Let's say if I average 9. I think it would take me around 10 days from now to finish Tanaris. Plus, I'm losing a couple, so I'm gonna lose out most of that time, and then I'll be finishing Zul'Grub. So yeah, I was hoping maybe over the break I'd get to Searing Gorge, and I might. I'm going the completely wrong way. I might do that. That might, and I don't think Searing Gorge is going to be super long, so I think I'll be in it into that first week of the new year while I'm on vacation and getting some extra time. But I don't know how much further. I should probably start it, and that's about as far as I'll get. And then when we start Feralus and Maraudon. Feralus I also think is a moderate size zone, and it does have Maraudon, which is a longer dungeon. Maraudon's probably going to take us in total maybe about a week to 8 days or so to complete on camera. Not sure. I mean, it depends. We could. That's with me planning on running each wing as a different episode. I don't know if that's going to be necessary because, or maybe I'm wrong and I'm thinking there are 3 wings of Maraudon and there's only 2. I don't remember. But it's also planning on picking up all of the Maraudon quests as we get closer to it. We also have some time we're going to have to spend doing the Maraudon lore that opens up. That's another thing that I want to do with the Christmas time is I want to do an episode of the Christmas. I believe there's a manga about the Christmas episode, and I want to check that out. That will be cool. We haven't done one of those in a while, and I'd love to pick that up and do that. So maybe I'll do that one on Christmas Eve. That'll be a fun little one for Christmas Eve. Just to get ourselves in the festive season. That would be cool. So next week on Tuesday, maybe I'll run that episode instead. Alright, here you go, Billy Bob.
Hello.
Spice. We could all use some spice in our life. You agree?
Ah, that's the spice. Now here's some swampy good stew.
Disgusting.
Eye juice is good juice for drinking. Too bad most critters only have 2 eyes. But spiders have lots of eyes, lots and lots. And dark mist eye juice is tasty, smooth, and salty. Unpopped spider eyes, I taste them already. Dark mist spiders are west of here, in the dark mist cavern. You figure the spiders are named after the cave, or is it the other way around?
See you around.
I don't know, but good question, bro. Okay, so we are done with soothing spices now, and he gave us this is just disgusting. There's not a lot I can say other than that. There's just something about the way they have written this character to talk about the juice from the eyes. And the spices for slurping down the swampy stew. It's all gross. Now, we did do this one on camera on Alliance, and it's pretty good. The drop rate's good. I think it averages somewhere in the ballpark of like 2.5 eyes per spider. So we're going to have to kill maybe 15 to 20 spiders, and if we go deeper into the cave, I think they're worth XP if we try to push a little deeper. We were really trying to push to gain that 48th level with her, but we're not even close. We started out needing 80k in this area, and we're at 64. So maybe I can push it. I will push deeper into the cave, and I will push to fight these muck shell guys when we run back after this. I'll do that too. It's going to be nice to actually fight something. These are the only 2 things we're going to be doing for fighting on this episode. We're mostly running around and kind of taking this investigation that leaves nowhere. And that's another thing is the Horde investigation sends you a lot further away. So it kind of leads you to forget what it's all about. Okay, so there's a cave. Like the guy said, is the cave named this way because of the spiders, or the spiders named after the cave? What came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. Great conundrum of man. Or similarly, what will happen if Pinocchio says we were just talking about this at work today. Somebody brought this up. The conundrum of what will happen if Pinocchio says my nose is about to grow. I guess if I was going to answer that and treat it like a real thing, maybe I would say it depends on the spirit of the statement. And I think that's how Disney and Pinocchio himself could get around this conundrum would be, you could talk about the spirit of the teller. Did Pinocchio say it because he believed it? Did he say it because he was lying? Or, did he say it because he's trying to trigger a paradox? Philosophically, was Pinocchio trying to trigger a paradox? And that would rely on the magic of the enchantment around Pinocchio to be able to discern Pinocchio's heart. And I think that's a deeper way of telling the story, but a way that you could avoid the conundrum, because if he really believed his nose was going to grow, and he said that, and it did grow, well, something else is triggering the nose to grow. If he believed it was going to grow and he said it and it didn't grow, he's not lying. He's just misspeaking, you know. And the same thing, if he isn't maliciously lying, he says, my nose is going to grow right now, ha ha ha, even though he knows it's not going to grow, well, that I think is trickier, and it triggers it. It would make him right. He could be gaming the system, because he could be saying that, knowing it's a lie. Also, are there different types of lies? Are there different spirits of lies? Can you say, you know, can you lie? Could Pinocchio, here's a better question, could Pinocchio lie to save the life of an innocent, you know? Could he say there is no, you know, there is no one hiding in that closet? Could he say that to the murderers if there was a child in that closet? And could he lie to save the life, you know? So it seems like a jacked curse that would go to the spirit of the law. And if it is a curse that doesn't follow the spirit of Pinocchio's heart, then you do open yourself up to conundrums, to these paradoxes. And I think that's the paradox exists elsewhere in philosophy. When you say, for instance, this sentence is a lie, the same concept. So philosophically, if I say this sentence is a lie, if you are speaking the truth, then the sentence is a lie. But you've just said it's a lie. So how can a lie also be the truth, kind of thing? I mean, but we can get around it, I guess, a little bit in some other ways too. If we say you say, I'm gonna lie to you and tell you that I like your haircut, you know. Well, that's harsh. Or I'm gonna lie to you. Here, let's do something less harsh. I'm gonna lie to you and tell you that I want Chinese food for dinner. Okay, I know you're lying to me. What you told me was the truth, but what you're saying, the content, is a lie, and you've admitted it. So I think there's just many layers to this, and it doesn't make sense from like a practical point in the English language, but I do think it's interesting. It does give us the example of the paradox. And I think that just goes to show you, if nothing else, that our system, one of the main systems we have of understanding the world, the philosophical system, which is how we get a lot of our meta thinking, our thinking about the way we think, and trying to decompress how the human brain works and psychology, that it ultimately, while it might be a useful tool, it can't be seen as the bend-all, because it can be very, very easily exposed as being a flawed, open-ended circuit, a flawed system. So I think anyone that tries to rely on philosophy as their main lens through which to interact with and navigate the world, and I would extend psychology to having a lot of ties to philosophy. Although, you know, you could make an argument against that, because it is a science, and there's scientific principles that undergird philosophy, psychology. I think there's still some elements where it overlaps. But yeah, you have a flawed system because you can very easily create paradoxes. The same thing, mathematics has some paradoxes inherent in itself too, because ultimately, and really ultimately, any system that's created that we use to interpret the world has paradoxes within it, baked in, because we are flawed, imperfect creatures, and we cannot. We exist within the world, and we're kind of using an analog system to operate. You know, we exist within a certain space, but the space that we exist is not the space that we perceive. So, you know, I'm looking at this screen. There's a reason why you look at maybe a very realistic photo or a piece of art, and there's not a lot of difference between actually what you're seeing in the artwork and what you are seeing when you open your eyes. And that's why we can appreciate art so much, why we can appreciate video games so much, why they can make us feel and move and think things. And it's because the equipment that we have is 2D equipment. That's what we're stuck with. That's all we've been designed with. Or if you don't believe in a higher design, it's all that we have evolved with. And those things don't have to be mutually exclusive either. But whether you want to call it one or the other, we are definitely trapped in this with the tools, by the tools that we have. And the tools that we have are not trustworthy. There are more dimensions than the dimensions we can feel, and I don't mean that from a spirit, like a metaphysical, meta-spiritual, or I don't mean it in that way, in like a sort of astrological sense or whatever. I mean it completely differently from that. I mean it from a mathematical sense, from the true definition of dimension as being one of the ways in which we can measure and navigate and perceive. So, you know, in art, we know what 2D art is, we know what 3D art is, we can easily perceive 3 dimensions, although even the third dimension, we never are perceiving the third dimension. We can just, without a shadow of a doubt, infer that third dimension through the use of our other senses, not relying on sight alone, but through touch and through sound. We can hear the echoes, we can feel something's length in more than one set of directionalities. And it allows us to use our brain, our computing systems in our head, pieces these together with lightning fast rapidity to determine whether something has these third dimensions or if it's a 2D shape. And right there, though, we're already taxing to its ultimate limits the abilities of our computer to know the third dimension. And we know, in a much more obscure sense, of the fourth dimension, which is time. We can perceive that fourth dimension, but that's just through all of the evidence of what's before us, for what makes sense from our memories, whatever are as intangible, as ephemeral as our memories are. We wake up every day and we trust that they're real. And people, as the mind starts to break down, memory is often one of the systems in the computer to go, because it's such a higher level abstract thing, and it requires us to make so many logical leaps of faith to believe in memory each day. And then if you take it a step further, we really have to trust in all of society and our ancestors and our family members and our friends to uphold certain records and corroborate certain stories to help us understand and intuit that it's very, very, very likely, like 99.999% sure, that there is this fourth dimension called time that we can perceive with a lot of assistance.
Hey there.
What are those eyes?
You got the eyes. You got the eyes. Tasty, tasty spider eyes. Some eyes, when you stare at them, they stare back.
Gross.
Keep those last. They keep you company out in the swamp. Hello, little spider eyes. Hello. You taste like chicken. Gooey, salty chicken.
Disgusting.
See you later.
Okay, so he has a quest called Jarl Needs a Blade. For some reason, it won't. You have to close Questy and open it to get Questy to read it. I have cutting to do. I can't tell you what I'm going to cut, but I need myself a blade. A certain blade. Some people call it a moonsteel broadsword. I call it a swing blade. You help me, maybe you find it in town. Maybe you talk to a blacksmith and he'll make it special. But don't sleep on this. What I'm cutting won't keep forever. What are you cutting, bro? Like a dead body?
How are you?
You have my blade.
That's a good blade. It has a good swing. It's a good swing blade. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now I want to try it later. I'll try it later. But like I was saying, thanks.
That ring is trash, and the pants are cloth, so
Safe travel.
that is what it is. Alright, so let's go ahead and mark these off as well. We got a Jarl on these eyes checked off. I love that. And boom, we have Jarl's blade needs a blade. That's all done too. Just bam bam. We made that look easy. Took a lot of prep work to actually get that. Alright, let's go do Marg Speaks as we've done about an hour, so this episode has actually taken us a decent amount of time. So the point of all of that stuff that I was talking about is, and you know, I was talking about paradoxes to get us there, and the paradox, another one from that kind of hurts with the philosophical system is Zeno's paradox, which is the paradox of the kind of the tortoise being shot at by an arrow. If you attempt to shoot, and this is a philosophical paradox that ties into the realm of mathematics, and it was very important at the time because at the same in ancient Greece, when we're having these Aristotelian schools and these ways of getting scholars and wise people together and thinkers together and surrounding them with students and opening up the Socratic method to talk, you have things that are really big at the time. So one of them is this Socratic method, this seminar, the type of school, that really taking the forefront. But you also have Euclid really combining a lot of the mathematical thinking of the world, of the era, and bringing it and codifying it and telling everyone that this is a way in which we can approach and tackle the world, a way that is so comprehensive that we can explain everything. And as a matter of fact, all math and therefore all engineering, physics, everything that we now operate on, from what designs this game to what how we have our iPhones and Android phones and how we fly our planes, and it's all based on Euclid's Book of Elements. It all comes from there and Euclidean geometry. So the reason why it's so important is Euclidean geometry is based on, it's built upon 5 postulates. And these 5 postulates are what must be followed if you're going to use all of the math that we currently have called Euclidean geometry. And one of the points of Euclidean geometry is that, hey, it says in between any 2 points there can be drawn a single straight line. Or in the case of our philosophical paradox, if you were to shoot an arrow at a turtle, you have a single straight line. That arrow travels in a single straight line. It doesn't curve around or boomerang. You're not bending bullets. That's not going to happen. You're going to shoot your arrow, and sure, that straight line, because of ballistics and the aerodynamics of the arrow, the line is not actually straight, right? The arrow will curve. But along that way, if you break down the curve of the arrow, and this is actually taps into what calculus is built on, the curve, right? It can be broken down or think of it as zooming in. You could zoom in your lens of your camera on the curve close enough, and if you zoom it in close enough, there's no difference between a curved line and a straight line if you get close enough. If you zoom in close enough, a curve looks straight. And if you take that logic, if you take the philosophical argument of basically arguing something to the point of absurdity, reducing it to absurdity. I can't remember the Latin word. It's like ad reductu ad absurdum or something like that is the old Latin name for this type of argumentative style, but you take something to its exaggerated conclusion, and this is where paradoxes start to enter the picture, even for math, when you get so granular. Because if you continue to go zoom, 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 or in the case of Zeno's paradox, if you continue to look at the flight of this arrow and you say, okay, well, if I'm standing 5 feet from an arrow and I shoot it, well, you could interject something in between the flight of the arrow's path, and it would get in the way of the arrow and the turtle. Let's say like 2.5 feet, someone stood, or a tree was there that would block the arrow. Well, okay, cool. But then someone else could say, yeah, but you could also intersect a point, is what they would argue. But like, let's say another tree in between that tree. So you could always say that, well, at 2.5 feet, there was another tree. And you can keep splitting that distance in between the two. And you can always divide the distance and say, well, before I get to the 2.5 foot, there has to be a 1.25 foot. Yeah, okay, that's true. And it takes some time to travel, was the argument of Zeno. To get to each of these new halfway points, you have to admit it would take some time to travel, a non-zero amount of time. So if you then cut that in half, you get to 1.25 feet. You cut that in half, you get to 6.25 feet. And you can keep on cutting the time in half, and you can keep on cutting the distance in half, but you have to admit at no point is the time or distance ever a number that is zero. It always has to be a non-zero number. And a non-zero distance must always take some amount of time, even if it's the most smallest fraction of a second. Now, this doesn't work in the real world because that doesn't matter to us. If we start to get to such a small fragment of a second that our computers break down, this is now a pointless argument for us to make, and we can laugh at them and roll our eyes and walk away. But that's just because our computers can't denote, we cannot clock something like less than 1/100th of a second or whatever. And our computers that we've designed can't even clock something less than, whatever, 1/1,000,000th of a second or whatever it is. So because of the limitations of our machinery, whether that's our biological machinery or our actual machines, eventually this becomes an absurd argument. But from a purely philosophical perspective, it doesn't, and this creates one of the paradoxes, because you can never get such a small distance that distance is zero. It doesn't make sense. You can keep zooming into the microscopic, atomic, subatomic level, kind of like Ant-Man and the Wasp. You can keep zooming in. And all this really tells us is two things. It tells us, one, that our knowledge, our ability to perceive or even think about things is not sufficient to the task. So anything that we're interacting with in the world, and you can make this argument about mathematics, which is so important to everything I just listed before. You can make it to philosophy. You could make the argument for just living by the law of natural man and perceiving the world, observations and perception, which is essentially science. So you are extending this to the idea of science, to psychology, which is a combination of philosophical concepts mixed with scientific methodologies. So all of these things you have to admit, they're limited, that we can reduce certain of their truths to absurdities because the limitations of the human condition. And we already made that argument with talking about the different dimensions. So the second thing that it tells us is that our systems are not sufficient into and of themselves. And nothing that we do is sufficient. And the only reason why it's even kind of okay is because we take it on faith. That we believe that these absurdities don't matter, because that's what our experiences tell us, that we can live without that mattering. And it opens up the door for those that wish to go down that path for very interesting conversations about the spiritual and the religious. because as soon as you admit the logical need for an ultimate level of faith at some point, then you admit that there is a value to a faith-based system, and then it just becomes an argument of semantics about whether you think the thing that different people put their faith in is just a hill of beans or a bunch of trash or whatever. And somehow this is where this conversation got to today as I hunt for clackers. I don't know how my brain does what it does sometimes. Yesterday, or the episode the day before, it was a couple hours on cookies because I do love cookies. And today, it was amusing on philosophy and a little bit of math and dimensions, and ultimately a doorway into a conversation about spirituality. And this kind of just goes with who I am. These are the things that I like to actually think about. These are the things that keep me up at night. These are the things that inhabit my mind when I'm driving in my car, or when I'm doing spreadsheets at work, or when I'm brushing my teeth or taking a shower. It's cookies and philosophy and religion and math. So I hope I haven't just lost like 1 billion subscribers over the past 2 days with my cookies and my philosophy. But if you're interested in different kinds of talks like that, I think there are probably people that do it a lot better than me. There's also better venues than a World of Warcraft game. But maybe it's also okay that as you play, I can share these thoughts with you, and you can tell me if I'm an idiot. And, I'm contributing to the lack of intelligence of mankind myself. So I think it's, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I'm okay with being a bit of a fool. So the drop rate seems to stink here on this jeweled pendant. I don't remember it being so bad. We are just over an hour, and this is just about all we have to do. Once we turn this in, there's not a lot. We're going to go back to Orgrimmar after this, once we turn this in Brackenwall. We're just killing these clackers, and I'm hoping we find some good ones. Don't know how many we've killed thus far, but there are a pretty good amount of them. We kill them pretty good as well. We bust him up good. Yeah, but today will be an example where I'm just not going to have time to play any on my own. So it's every episode we do, we're going to be catching up on what we have. And as I mentioned, we only have 2 zones more before I fully caught up. We only have Stranglethorn, which at least is a big zone, and the Hinterlands, and then I hope that I'll catch up while we do the next one. I'll build us some room and catch up. Tanaris will be ready in Searing Gorge, and we'll start working on Fairless. So then that's it. We'll be 3/4 of the way through the game after I do that. We'll be entering true endgame content from that point forward. The first half of the endgame are very interesting little Fellwood, Ajara, Ungoro Crater, and Blasted Lands. It's going to be fun to do those. And then we have the real endgame, which will be full of dungeons. That's what will slow us down in the true endgame, because we'll have Western Plaguelands, but we'll also have, Western, Eastern, Winter, Spring, Silithus, and I'm forgetting one. The Steppes? Burning Steppes? Yeah, Burning Steppes. But within that, we'll have the dungeons, which are going to be Blackrock Depths, Lower Blackrock Spire, Scholomance, Upper Blackrock Spire, both parts of Stratholme, and all the wings of Dire Maul. So that'll be cool. And then at the end of it, we'll start some raiding. And I think what I might do by the time we get to that point in the world is... I mean, we'll start it all with Western Plaguelands. And, while Western Plaguelands does open Scholomance, I don't think I'm going to be ready to do that yet, because really the lowest one of those is Blackrock Depths. So unless there's a spot for Blackrock Depths that I don't know about, I think the entrance is in the Burning Steps. And I'll probably do the Burning Steps second. I'll do Western Plaguelands. What am I forgetting? It's Western Plaguelands, Eastern Plaguelands, Burning Steps. Oh, Winter Spring is what I'm forgetting. Yeah, so I'll probably do Western Plaguelands first, but then do Burning Steps after that. So then after finishing Burning Steps, that will really have opened everything for us. Well, not everything. But then what I can do is we can go and do Blackrock Depths, and we can do Scholomance. We can do Lower Blackrock Spire first, then Scholomance. And then we can do Dire Maul and Upper Blackrock Spire. Really, all of that will be open. I'll kind of pick the order I want to do it. And... or I could save Upper Blackrock Spire, because Stratholme will be saved until we finish Eastern Plaguelands. So basically we can do Blackrock Depths, and then we can do Scholomance. Or actually we'll do Lower Blackrock Spire, and then we'll do Scholomance. So we'll do all of those when we finish the first two zones of that last one. And then... Jeez, this is... just getting bad luck here. This guy wants to fight. Oh, you know what? I can't believe it. I said I was going to spam my water walking. I don't want to right now when he's biting me, because if you get hit, it doesn't work. But we have so much water walking we can do. Alright, so we'll walk around and look for the next one. I mean, we can really use one almost every time. But I'm bummed that this is having such a bad drop rate. I didn't realize the RNG was going to be so bad. And it's okay. I mean, whatever. If it slows us down, if we stop here, we'll still probably be okay on the next one. But yeah, so today's conversation, it kind of goes into what were my personal studies. When I entered college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I started my college career out with philosophy and psychology as my major. And after my first year and taking a few other classes, I realized that I wasn't really very passionate about the psychology aspect. It just didn't thrill me. I didn't particularly love everything about what I came across. And really, I didn't particularly believe in every aspect of the project. Not to say that it doesn't have of the product. I mean, not to say that I don't think it had value. I do think it did. That psychology and therapy has value, absolutely. And we're fighting a new kind now, a Scrabbler. I'm hoping maybe this is a different set of muck shells, so maybe we'll have better luck here. Maybe this is where I originally got them on my own. Anyway, I like the fact that they're around one of these old elven destroyers from Warcraft 2. That's pretty cool. But then, as I mentioned on the show, I then switched to... oh, look at that. Second drop. So, don't be like me. Come down here, I guess, and fight these guys. That's going to probably be better for you. And we're going to be turning this into Brackenwall Village. Okay, that's where we're going to go now. Alright, But after I did my studies in ethnic studies and foreign languages, meanwhile taking a lot of electives about the philosophy, particularly the philosophy of government and the philosophy of religion, were a lot of the types of areas that I studied. I was very interested in those things, not from a not religion from a theologian's, or not even that, but from like a potential future pastor or a church leader's type of training, which is different in my mind. Um, Having been a member of one church or another for my entire life, I just didn't feel a calling in that way. I felt that I was not the best person for that job because I think a rock hard faith is a very useful trait when you have that, and I don't. I have faith, but my faith is I have to be able to get my faith through logic, even though I've just talked about what a flawed system logic itself is. But I have to be able to question, and it has to make sense to me. And I think there are too many parts of um, church leading that requires you to sort of just inspire rather than explore with questions. I think there's a space for that, but I'm not very inspirational. That's maybe I am. I don't know, but I just don't think that is my wheelhouse that I feel most comfortable in. I don't want to stand and rah rah certain things. Although who knows? Maybe one day, maybe it's something I could be good at. Um, but also for the not from the idea of government either. I certainly don't want to govern, which is ironic because I now also work for the government. So, but I again, not interested necessarily, or my strength. It's not that I'm not interested. And anyone that's been on my journey with me lately has heard the stories of my current. I'm on a current bout of failure, which I've never experienced in my life or career. Just repeated failure after failure of attempting to apply for promotions and jobs, and it's I do not. I just know too much about the product of my work. It's not about my work, so it must be about my personality, and there must be some intangibles that come in these higher leadership roles that I need to work on still if I'm going to get there, and maybe it won't ever happen for me. I mean, the doubt certainly creeps in, and that's probably natural, but maybe it creeps in easier for me than it does for people that do wind up succeeding in that role. So I explored those things, and then ultimately went on to pursue a degree in mathematics, and got some other leadership. Did work in my master's, and so. Oh, that's the question there. Here's Marg speaks. So that's where this talk you just heard comes from. That assortment of little things shape me. Wow, I have a third stack. I'm not keeping 3 stacks. That's too much. That's almost a gold for that axe. Citrine I'll sell for now. I don't need heavy stone. Sell that. Don't need this extra eye. Okay. We are getting a pretty nice amount of money from these things, so that's cool. Oh yeah, that ring is not very good. So that's good. We've gained about 4 gold from that.
Blades never dull. Blood and thunder.
Gleekatold, did you discover Marg's fate?
This pendant was worn by a soldier of Stormwind. Thank you, adventurer. You have revealed the secret of Marg's death. But this pendant is a new mystery to solve, one that may have dire effects on the Alliance and the Horde.
Interesting.
Strange that the pendant Marg stole was in the hands of common soldiers. Perhaps its owner was in disguise, or perhaps the soldiers themselves stole it. Regardless of which is true, this is a noble's pendant, and we must discover its true owner if we are to unravel its mystery. Take the pendant to Zorlone Tree in Orgrimmar. He is well schooled in Alliance politics, and will know if this pendant has a history among the nobles of Stormwind.
Yeah, so kind of like what I said and what we started to speculate before, maybe, like, all we really know is they're saying, dude, this is weird that, that this guy has this pendant, because it's a noble pendant, and exactly like you said, was he someone in disguise as a soldier? Was this a soldier that stole this pendant? Is there a deeper mystery there? Why did he have it? And we're going to go to a guy in Orgrimmar who's an expert to try to figure it out, and that's going to be the last mission that we do today, I think, if we turn this in. This is going to give us the last two, and we'll be saving, just like I wanted, we'll be saving the Black Dragon stuff for the end. So anyway, thanks for bearing with me today, guys, or hopefully maybe it wasn't bearing with. Maybe it was something interesting, or maybe I sound like a fool, because I think to really have the kind of conversation that I was just having, I would need bullet points to keep my thoughts in order. I think I would truly need to kind of make notes for myself, because it's a lot, and there's so many different ways that you can branch off on those that type of conversations. So I hope there was something, though. I hope it was interesting and food for thought. And if you want to contribute to the conversation, tell me. Let me know where I was an idiot and how I could do better. And if you have ways that you want to kind of give me some advice or correction because you feel like I'm wrong, then cool. I'm open to that too. I probably am wrong. I'm wrong more than anything else. I want reagents. Maybe it's Acheron's Market. I did want to repair, but more importantly, I wanted to top off my Unks because we've been using them since I died more than I should. There we go. I knew there was a good one around here. General goods. Okay, cool. And it looks like we're going to be going into Thrall's base here. At the end of this, I will be set up to fly back to Brackenwall. I'm going to go to the flight path, and we'll bow out before we actually get on the plane.
Speak. Victory.
You traveled from Brackenwall village in Dustwallow. How fares Nazir, and how fare his efforts in the marsh?
This pendant was crafted with great skill and precision, adventurer. No orc would covet such a jewel, but many humans would. I will have this pendant studied. In time, let us hope that its mysteries will be revealed to us.
Okay, and the final
It will
one.
take time for our scholars to study the pendant you brought us, but for your service to the Horde, I would like to offer you a small token. Thank you, adventurer. Your acts bring honor to you and to us.
So this, that's a good strength ring. These are actually good rings. But better is, for my sake, this is a really good healer's ring. And I like it overall as a better stat. Plus it's worth some gold. So these two rings I currently have are tied. They both have 10 stam. Would I rather have 4 spirit or the 2 strength, 2 agility? This is going to... If I replace the Dragon Claw ring, so if I replace that one, I'm going to lose 4 stam. Overall, I'm going to kind of gain, I'll be swapping out for intellect. If I switch this one, I'll lose 4 stam to gain the intellect and spirit. Either way, I'm losing the stam. It's just, do I want to reduce the damage overall? I think I do. I'm going to go for that. It's going to help me out. Ultimately, I want to start shifting to healer mode. Yeah, so I think that's better. All right, I'm going to drop that citrine off too. But that's good. Okay, so we're going to go back to the center where we'll get the bank and the flight path. That's about where we're at today. Oh, guys, I am excited. The night is wrapping up, but I'm most excited to have this time off. I'm looking forward to seeing some family. I'm looking forward to opening some presents and all of that good stuff. I'm looking forward to all of it. I'm looking forward to... I gotta say, I don't really look forward to getting presents. When you're a kid, that's all you can think about, you know? I don't really care very much about that.
So many years of
I
battle and slavery.
truly don't
Good to have
think
home again.
about it very much. I don't. While it's nice to get things, I don't need anything. But I do enjoy giving and seeing my kids open and seeing people open up. My wife, I like to see the wife get things that she's interested in. Okay, so I'm gonna say, actually, I want to put this bag in there. I'm gonna put that in for 100 gold and just see what happens. I guess trade is fine. I don't have to put it up there. Probably no one's gonna buy it from me, and maybe I'll just put it on the auction house. Maybe I'll put it on for like 50 gold or something. I don't know. See what we can sell it for. It's a level 42 dagger. It is quite good. Probably I don't see anything on. People aren't buying anything from the auction house anymore. So let's clear that and look at weapons. Let's look at like a dagger. So this is 100 gold. That's a level 32. That's neat. Everything else is much lower. That's a level 52. So that's only 25 gold. So people are definitely selling their stuff for a lot less. 37 damage. Mine's close. Yeah, so what's the point? All of these are just available for a variety of silver. Silly. Yeah, on hit, it blasts the target for 45 frost damage. Like, okay. This one does give 18 attack power, but that's like 9 strength, basically. Mine's strength agility combo. That's good. So I'm going to try to just put mine up there. I'm going to put it for 50 gold, and if it doesn't work, I'm not going to save it anymore. I'm going to just keep it where it's at. I'm going to put it for 24 hours. I'm going to let people buy it out at 50 also, and I had to pay gold, like I said. And if it doesn't sell, I'm not going to sell it. Okay. So it opens up some spots. And let's go to the flight path. And that will be what we do for today. I appreciate you guys. I think it's great. We're going to finish another zone tomorrow. We are really cruising in this game. Wish this is what I could do all day with you. But... alas, I must ensure compliance in the world. Thank you everyone so much for watching, for listening, and for tuning in. I will find you all. I'm like Santa. I know what you've been doing. See ya.